In the name of Lord Jesus, we continue our study in book of Genesis. So now let's move on to father concerned son's marriage. The old father Abraham, he was advanced in age, 140 years old actually. The Lord has blessed Abraham in every way. So no matter is his flock, like his possession, how he interact with others, about his family, and how he treat his servant, right? And how he can get along with the neighbor. And then the relationship between father and son. Everything. God blessed Abraham in every way. So this is what we supposedly to pursue for. We needed to be blessed by the Lord in every way. It's not only about your schoolwork. It's also about how you are going to interact with your family, your parents, right? How you can get along with your siblings, or the relationship with your classmate in the school, and back in the church, everything. Your own family, then the life in the church, in the future, your career, right? So this is the entire life. Abraham received God's blessing. Now, it is about his son's marriage. So, whether we have blessed by the Lord, he also will decide our marriage. If we really trust what the Lord said, follow the forefathers' footsteps, then we will very careful to our marriage. In the future, if you become parents, you also have to concern your descendants' marriage also, right? So this is how we can pass our faith from generation to next, and until the return of Jesus. So this is a long term. Isaac, 40 years old, and he was very lonely once the mother passed away. So then you know how close the son and the mother. Right? If I don't know, brother, do you usually call your father or call your mom? If you are away, whom do you call to? You talk to mother or talk to father? Yes, both, or mother, both. But who talk more, father or mother? Huh? Father, mom. Usually mom talks much more. Father always say, are you okay? Yes. And then finish. Do you have money? Yes. And then no more. It's just like I talk to my son also, because I believe if he has something to talk to me, he will say, ask me. But if he is okay, I don't have to interrupt into his life. But mom will talk to him much more, right? Mom will ask about everything, life, school, everything, chat. This is how son and the mother. Just like myself also, I talk to my mom. But I very seldom talk to father, because father said, you talk to your mom, and then I will know. That's how mother becomes this like a mediator. Right? So you see how this is the relationship. But of course, some family, father is also very talkative, very concerned. But in overall, mother is more concerned about the children. But at this moment, Isaac, he has no mother. So in chapter uh, 24, the last verse, right? Let's turn to 24. 24. 67. 67. From this verse, then you know marriage bring to Isaac comfort. After he meets the mom, after the Rebecca was brought to the tent, then he received comfort. And then you can imagine how close the mother and son. Okay, God promised to Abraham have a descendant, and Abraham, he always remembered this covenant of God. Without marriage, where is the descendant will be, right? So marriage is important. If we want in our church, if our youth, many just decided not going to marry, or once you get married, you don't say, I don't want to have children because I don't want to be suffer. Some of the couple, they say they don't want to have children because they don't know how to educate the children. They don't want to suffer because they experienced the previous generation. They suffer a lot. They try to avoid. But consider God's will, not about our own will. In the church, if the married couple don't reproduce the next generation, it is a very big loss of the church. And this is also in danger to church development. We educate our own children be much easier than you try to preach to others and then change their mindset and then equip them enough to serve in the church. Okay, but in our own church, if godly parents educate our younger generation, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years later, they become your helper already. Okay, so children grow up every year. You learn. Many of you, I saw you when you are in E2 or kindergarten, but now you are in NYTS taught, right? Strong. So this is the future of the church. And right now, some trend, young couple, they just want to raise dog, pet, cat, right? 5 years, 10 years later, you cry for your dog because the dog, the lifespan is short. Then you get lost, you cry a lot. But 5 years, 10 years later, the child grow up, right, and become a helper. This is very important. Make sure we have a descendant. So descendants to inherit the covenant, to continue the holy work. Okay. So descendants also make the parent to grow. We, as a parents, we learn a lot from our own children. The children will sometimes educate back to the parents. This is not good. This is better, because in their generation, just like your view is different from your parents. And parents, if parents want to know the youth through children, right? So this is God's will, and this is how God commands us to have descendants. Okay, let's move on. Now, this is the entrustment to the old servant. This servant is important, very faithful, also know how to rely on the Lord. So he prayed. In this entire task, he relied on the Lord to guide him, because Abraham also begs him. Abraham had faith. He know God will help him to this matter, right? Let's turn to chapter 24. 24. 24, chapter 24, verse 7. Verse 7. Okay. Can I ask someone to read for me? Raphael, brother from Sacramento. Right? Can you read, please? 24, verse 7. Yeah, 24, 7. Thank you. Amen. Abraham talked to the old servant. The Lord I worship, he shall send his angel before you. The angel is guiding you, protect you. Don't worry. Right? So he prayed. So on the way, then we see how the servant rely on the Lord, pray. In finding someone, pray first. Right? And God just provide the opportunity, and then he can easily just identify, oh, this is the one. Easy task. Very hard job, but to him become very easy. Right? Because the angel already guide his way. Right? So you see how this awesome man becomes so diligent in order to finish this task. In verse 33, when he eventually reached to the house of Laban, right? And you see how he said, let me finish. Let me tell you what happened before we eat, before I rest, right? So he put this task first, because this is a timing. He needed to make a report to the master, right? You see his heart. And then 54, after the family agree, okay, then Rebecca's family say, how about 10 days? Let her live here for 10 days. What the servant said? No, tomorrow I have to go. Cannot wait for 10 days. 10 days is a long, actually. But you see the heart of the old servant. Once the test complete, rush back home to make a report, bring this wife back to Isaac immediately, right? At that time, he can only set on the journey in the morning. Otherwise, today, nowadays, he maybe take an overnight flight back to the masters, right? So this is how urgent his heart is, diligent. He was a good mediator to introduce the family and his master. Verse 34 to 49, and you see how this old servant, he introduced Abraham and the family to Rebekah's family. What he says is true. And then you know how well he understands Abraham, and then how close he and the master. So you see God bless Abraham in all ways, right? Including how he interacts with his servants. Means Abraham, he is a good boss. In our church, we have so many members, they actually serve as a boss. But boss must be loving and also fear God. Otherwise, the relationship will not be that good. But this old servant, he will treat by the master. So you see how he said all the good things to Rebecca's family. This is a good mediator. Through him, the family has a confidence. Yes, the daughter follow this old servant to the master's house. Okay, because this is the family well blessed by the Lord himself. So she married there and never returned to the family. But she will be okay because God blessed the family, including the daughter. Right? So this is trust, faith, the faith. All right, so this is all sermon. Then let's move on. So today, the old sermon just like the marriage coordinator. Marriage coordinator. We use this chapter to as a model to have all the marriage coordinator to cultivate themselves and to imitate this old sermon. If all of the marriage coordinator in the church behave just like this old sermon, all the family marriage matter into match. You try to match someone will be much easier and more success. So we learn. Maybe in the future you will also serve as a marriage coordinator, right? Right now you are still single, but can you imagine if you got married, you marry in the law, and then you have this faith, then in the future you also you can imagine the struggle of the younger generation. Then you serve as marriage coordinator, and then you help them a lot. Nowadays in USGA we have many marriage coordinators. They are young couple. They got married, and then because they trust the Lord, and then later they know how to make it happen better according to the Bible. Okay, so first, have the heart to carry out the mission, loyal. So this is entrusted. Marriage coordinator is a difficult job actually in the church. If you match someone successfully, so happy. But what if fail? People don't like it. Then all of the finger pointer, all your fault. And then people become so hurt. They do it voluntarily. They want to help the church work. So be nice, be considerate about how difficult to match it to persons, and then deal with the two families. So different issues must be dissolved. Okay, they has been entrusted by the church, and they carry out with love. Have a sincere and responsible heart. Sincerity. They must be responsible. Once accept this task, then make it complete successfully. Have love toward those who trust their children marriage to them. It's about care. Okay. As a parents, sometimes we do not have the understanding about many things, especially among youth. Right? But marriage coordinator, their focus is how to match, how to deal with all the issues. So don't misunderstand about others' love. If the marriage coordinator approach you and offer some help, say thank you, right? And then pray for me. And maybe you can consider people really want to help you find a suitable spouse in the Lord. It is a blessing. Someone really concerned about your marriage. Have the heart, also number 4, have wise discernment and the judgment, patient. You see how the old sermon, he has this kind of the smart heart, and then he know what to choose for Isaac. Very important. His observation is very, very sharp, very right. We call it, right? You need to observe it, and then observation. And then you have a discernment. This is right, this is not right. Have the heart to walk with God. Rely on God always. No matter what happens, then pray first. Have the determination to complete the mission, ferment proactively. So this is the a motto. And this we learn from this chapter, from this old sermon. Now, his prayer, 3 prayer. If you read it, then you know. Now, by the well, right? The water fountain there. He prayed to God, guiding him to find the right young woman. So many. Which one? How do you tell? So what is the criteria? What is the criteria of this old sermon? Abraham doesn't give him the list of the qualification. Abraham just only said 3 things, right? No Canaanite woman, right? First, not take my son out of Canaan, right? Okay, find someone from my family, relative. That's it. But now, the big task fall on the old sermon. He needed to decide which one is the best. The best means to fit to the Isaac. It's not according to his own view. No, he has considered about what Isaac need. Okay. So what is the criteria? He said in verse, let's read verse 44. 43 and 44. 43 and 44. Can I ask Sister Vanessa from Houston? Yes, please. 43 and 44. You finish it. So 44, right? Okay, thank you. Behold, I stand by the well of water, and you shall come to pass that when the virgin comes forth to draw water, and I said to her, give me, I pray you, a little water of your pitchers to drink. Okay, so the first, he will ask a little favor from the girl, give me something to drink, a little water to drink. Okay. Then 44, and she said to me, both drink, and I will also draw for your camels. Let the same be the woman whom the Lord has appointed out for my master's son. Okay, so what does it mean? This girl must be loving, right? If someone asks for help, she will serve. And then the sermon said, not only me, but how about my camels? Do you know how many camels? The sermon took how many camels? How many camels? 10. And do you know one camel, how many gallons the camel needed to drink if the camel becomes so thirsty? Can you imagine? Anyone guessed a camel, how many gallons of water camel need? 4? 4 gallons? No, much more. You check. I think this is a common knowledge. Camel can easily drink a lot more than 4 gallons, I can tell you. Okay? So, and then today is not a faucet that you just let the water run, right? You have to draw from the well. Use the bucket and draw the water out from the well. It takes energy. It's a hard labor, right? And then during the hot summertime, can you imagine how much effort, how willing this girl must has in her heart, really to serve without complaint? Okay? So if you need to do something extra, she must be also busy because she is coming out to draw water back home for cooking for her task. But now suddenly this stranger say, please give me some water to drink. And then if she's not only concern me, but also concern my camels, the camels just stand there, right? Waiting for water. And then she saw it. Can you imagine? And how much effort, how many hours she need to spend to draw water and then to satisfy these 10 camels? So what does it mean? She must really have full great love, consideration, concern about others, right? Sacrifice about her own task. Just set aside. Now I take care of this stranger first. And then if I just take care of him, how about the animals, right? They travel a long journey, come here, so thirsty. But this is the task Osman want to know. And she must be healthy too, right? Strong enough with muscle. Right? Draw water. Of course, in that time, everyone labor for it. People get used to. But you need to spend hours, right? But diligent. Not only self-centered, concern about others. So this is a very important criteria. And this actually is the most important. Love. With love, care others. Not only about myself. So, brother, what you looking for your future spouse? You're looking for someone really nice, every day put makeup and become just like a model? Or someone really pray with love, concern about you, your family, children. Show love. Okay? Diligent to labor, to work, will to sacrifice. You have to consider, sister, what kind of the wife you want to be. Right? What kind of mother you will be. You just care about yourself. You spend hours to dress yourself, become beautiful. Or you consider about, I need to show love to others. Okay? What is more important? Outer appearance, just like a flower, not long after, it just fade away. And when you're getting old, nobody care about how beautiful you are, but care about how good you are, how loving you are. Okay? And the same character for the brother must be responsible. Okay? And really take the task. You see the old sermon, right? He said, let me finish my task first before I can eat meal. What kind of the loyalty and this responsible? She's looking for someone really be responsible, take the task, and be good as a head of the family. This is the church, the Bible we're supposed to have. Okay? So he prayed, and then God answered to his prayer. So easy. Then identify one and then talk to her. And then she is the relative of Abraham's family. So simple. Right? If just by his own way, he's just like you try to find out a needle from the sea, 海底捞针啊. You don't know where. It's so many. How do you find a suitable one? But God guide his way, right? So this is what happened. Then verse 26 to 27. after he said to Rebecca, and she just observe it. He observed it. At this moment, the old servant just observed the whole process. Let Rebecca to water the 10 camel. The old servant just stand aside and then just observe it. She doesn't complain, say, hey, come to help. How come you just watching? You're supposed to help me. No. It's this time, the whole process, the old servant already say, oh, thank God, this is the one. So after she finished, then present her the gift. The gift, right? Good. And introduce himself. And then understand, wow, this is the relative of Abraham. How wonderful. Then he prays for giving thanks to God after finding the house of Abraham's brethren. It's just a miracle. So give thanksgiving to God in a prayer. And then you pay attention to the posture of the old servant too. Okay. Then after they arrived to the family of Rebecca, let's read verse 50 to 52. 50 to 52. Now, the ball is in the hand of the Rebecca's family. Right? He considered this God's will, but whether the family say yes or not, it's not you can decide. Right? All right, let's read verse 50 to 52. 50 to 52. Can I ask? There's two Caleb, right? Caleb from Pacifica. Where is Caleb? Caleb, please. Verse 50 to 52. Amen. Thank you. After Laban and Bethuel, they understand what happened. So, answer to the old sermon, the things proceed from the Lord. We cannot speak unto you bad or good. Means we want to submit to God's will. Then, behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your master's son's wife, as the Lord has spoken. Very submissive, right? And then it came to pass that when Abraham's servant heard their words, he worshipped the Lord, bowing himself to the earth, to the ground. Wow. Totally. Wow. Thank God. Task complete. Mission complete. Right? The girl family said yes. Right? Say yes, not just open the celebration. No. Worship God first. Pray. Okay? So this is how the old servant becomes so excited. When you finish a big task, you become so excited. What do? You 开香槟, oh, let's celebrate, right? Firework. No, just pray. Thank God for guiding this task and the way so smoothly. It's hard, this sermon too. And this is, I think we have to learn from it. We mentioned this because the Lord, he has his sermon to write down these details with purpose. And this has become a model. Now, the old sermon introduced his master to Rebecca's family. Okay? You look at from this conversation, then you know how Abraham he behaved at home. Sometimes we behave good in the church, but your behavior at home could be very different. In these few days, the preacher always emphasizes, be true. Don't become double-faced person. You be good in the church, but become very different at home and in the school, in the society. Okay? Let us be true. Always behave according to the Bible. So people will not be surprised that how come the marriage coordinator find this brother or sister behaves good in the church, fervent, and also sincere. It seems like a very submissive, very decent to serve in the church. And then try to match the brother, a good sister. But later find out it was a big mistake. A big mistake. Because this is a big deception. The brother behave at home in the society totally different. Even the minister got deceived, and then the marriage become a tragedy. And it damaged the trust of the youth to the marriage coordinator. Why? Because the youth double face, behave very well in the church, but very bad in society, and very untrustworthy with his friends. Wow. So that's why we must be good. But you see how good Abraham is. At home, right? He treats his sermon like that. His sermon reveals the true Abraham at home, behind the scene. I am Abraham's servant, right? I'm his servant. The Lord has blessed my master greatly. He witnesses, right? He witnesses. The son begotten when his mother was old. How old? 90 years old. Can you imagine? 90 years old woman begot a son. Now the son, 40 years old. Okay? Precious to the mother. The mother loved him so much. He has received a great love, the total love of mother. So Isaac is very loving because learned from the mother. Right? My master has given him all that he has. He is going to inherit everything from the master. My master concerned his son's marriage very seriously. Very seriously. So this marriage is very important. He trusts the Lord and believes he will guide me to find a wife for his son. So this is what the sermon said, right? The Lord blessed my master's family all the way until now. 7. He believed a good wife for his son shall be found from his own family. So now the God already guide me to this place. Find your daughter here. She is the one who God has matched for my master's son. Verse 48, he concludes, this is my master's son's wife. Just like it has been the God's will, no doubt. This is what the master and the sermons, the relationship, we see how close. Hopefully we really understand this is important to us. Let us be true and also prepare ourselves for your future marriage. You imagine your future marriage. Yes, everyone will have a dream, especially your future life, but be prepared for it. Consider, are you going to be a good husband, a good father? Sister, are you going to be a good wife, a good mother? We prepare for it, then we take action to learn while you are still have chance to learn while we cultivate ourselves from the Bible and make some change. In the Bible, in the church, you can see, I think some figure they could be your model. Learn from them. Learn from them. Because we imitate someone, then we find our own way to be even better. Okay? So this is maybe 10 years ago, we have a survey from among the youth, and this is use criteria for spouse. For your reference, this is the previous generation 10 years ago. I think it's more than 10, 12 years ago. 12 years ago. The previous generation, they already finished NYTS, even finished PMAP. When they was in the class, this is what they said. The criteria for their future spouse: first, faith, good faith, solid belief, right? Zeal and love for God in TJC, the first. And second, appearance, optics. Okay. Some still very concerned about the outer appearance. But those who really care for this outer appearance, they fail, as I might know, as my understanding. Okay. Then family, background. Yes, it matters, but it is not necessary. But you have to also consider it. Occupation, income. Someone very care about income. Why must I have a high income? Then I have a better life, right? I have enough financial power to go wherever we want, right? Health, physical and mental health. Mental health right now is very, very important. Education. Someone care about the qualification, degree. It must be up to the high certain level and can match. But it's just optional actually. Someone doesn't care. Personality, right? Personality. And hobbies, lifestyle. Someone have a very unique hobby. And then you have to understand. Because it will influence our lifestyle. The time you spend, right? The way or the money you are going to use for. It's just like something all included. All right, let's move on. The importance of trust and obey in the marriage. Regarding to the marriage, we need this two character. You trust God first, and then we obey what Bible says. Abraham obeyed God's will, right? Because God already set the covenant with him. He cannot allow his son to marry the Gentile woman. No. So, God's will. Then Isaac obeyed Abraham's arrangement. Just like Adam. He accepted whatever God created for him. Right? God put him in deep sleep. Then, when God finished creation, and then make him awake, and then he saw it. Oh, this is my bone, flesh, my flesh. You're wonderful. Without any opinion. Abraham arranged all things for Isaac. Isaac just accept, obey. Laban and Bethuel trust God's will because after they have heard what the old servant said, they believe this is God's will. We better to follow. So we are not going to say bad or good. Rebecca obeyed her father and brother, right? Because the father said, you can take her and go, right? She just accept. Isaac trusted the old servant. When they returned, and Isaac saw the whole things, and then saw the bride, and then he becomes so warmly welcome, receive her into the tent. And then Isaac loved Rebekah and be comforted. Okay. So this is the faith and the obey, trust and obey. Hopefully we can find something being inspired about your future marriage. Okay. Let's stop here. Say a silent prayer.